Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Erin. This morning I'm going to be getting ready for work, but I'm going to put a little bit of a spin on it. I had this idea a couple weeks ago and I kind of wanted to try it out. I had to look in my collection to make sure that I had everything that I needed, but I'm going to go ahead and do a full face of samples. Now, excuse you dog, but I've been receiving these Sephora Play boxes for close to a year now, so I've acquired quite a bit of samples. So I want to go ahead, a lot of these samples are in my project pan because I do want to use up some of the samples that they send me if they work for my skin type and skin tone and so forth. But I want to go ahead and get ready today and use just all samples. I'm going to just do this to music, and then at the end I'm going to come back on and kind of tell you guys what I think about them, the best, the worst, because otherwise this video would be forever long. And like I said, I just woke up, I have my coffee, I'm not quite awake yet, but let's go ahead and get ready for my day with some samples, and then I'll let you know at the end what I think. So cue the music. Alright guys, so this is my final look of a full face of samples today, and my hair is big today. It just don't even care. So I'm going to just quickly run down the items that I used and give quick little thoughts on them, since I have had most of these for more than a few months. So as far as starting off with the moisturizer, with the Clinique moisturizer, It's okay, it's not my favorite, but I will go ahead and use it up. It is a gel moisturizer, so it's better for my oily skin. The Peter Thomas Roth Skin to Die for No Filter Mattifying Primer is amazing. This is actually one of like the primer samples that I would think about repurchasing. And I had to be kind of selective with my primers today because I did use a powder foundation. Now under my eyes, I did use the Makeup Forever, the Skin Booster Serum. I'm just trying to use it up. It does feel nice and gel-like and moisturizing underneath the eyes. I don't really see a big significant change, but I do enjoy the way that it feels. It sinks in right away. So again, with my powder foundation, I used the Sephora powder foundation sample that I ended up getting, and I just used an e.l.f. brush. This is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush, which is nice and densely packed. It's really good for powder foundation. I used to do powder foundation all the time, so I'm very comfortable with it. But again, you can't put a lot of pore filling primers on because when you start to rub, they will pill up. They will go ahead and get just wiped right out of your pores. So I had to look at a primer that wasn't so pore filling, which a lot of my primers are. Oh, I forgot the concealer. When I placed a recent Sephora order, you can ask for like 3 free samples. So they never really send me exactly what I pick, but this time they did. They sent me the sample of the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Concealer. And I used the shades Fair Neutral and Light Warm. Now I do have cooler skin tones, but in this line, on the lighter side of things, if I remember correctly from looking online, they don't have a lot of cool shades in the lighter side of the line. They really just have a lot of warm and neutral shades, so I guess I would need to go more neutral. But the coverage under my under eyes, holy crap, y'all. That fair neutral shade is beautiful. And then I used the warm light shade on the rest of my face to kind of conceal blemishes because you don't want to use a very light concealer on blemishes. It highlights them more. You want more of like a skin tone or a deeper shade of concealer on blemishes. But I don't want to buy high-end concealers anymore. I feel like they're not worth it for the price when there's so many wonderful ones from the drugstore. But I might be tempted to pick this one up because the coverage on this was beautiful. The way it blended out was beautiful. If you watch, depending on what I edit and what I don't put in, if I would have just blended these concealers out on my face and took care of my problem areas, I would have been perfectly fine just wearing my face with the concealer on it. It was beautiful. So I did go ahead and I used the Sephora Powder Foundation, which is a little bit dark for me, but whenever I put it on my skin, whenever I blend it out, it does turn out beautiful. I love the coverage on it. It looks nice and natural. It just looks like my skin. Now I did go in with a little bit of the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores Pressed. I did a little bit underneath my eyes. I also used this to set down my eye primer. I don't know how I necessarily feel about this. This was the one that I had to repress, and I think whenever I repressed it, I kind of changed the makeup of the formula of the powder. So I'm still on the fence with this one. It's not something I'm reaching for every day, but it did kind of smooth out everything and make like it. I put a little bit on my cheeks where my pores are, and they really do look diminished. So if you can't use a pore filling primer, using a powder that claims to, erase your pores would be a good alternative. Now, whenever I went in with my eyes, I just used my Benefit Hoola bronzer as my transition shade, and then I went in with this little duo from Smashbox. I like Smashbox eyeshadows, but they're not my absolute favorites. But this little duo here is very, very pretty with a bronze color and a pinky color. So I just put the bronze in the outside corner and the pinky all over the lid. And then I did go in with, I did put on eyelid primer today. And this is the Laura Mercier eyelid primer in Wheat. This one is a little bit dark for me, but once I sheer it out with my little Real Technique sponge, it does sheer out pretty nicely. I do like this. It does cancel out everything. I just don't use eyeshadow primers all the time because a lot of times I take my concealer up onto my lids. But getting back to what is the glittery stuff on my lids, I went in with my Stila Glitter and Glows. I like applying these with a brush and not with the actual doe foot. So I take the product off the doe foot with a brush. This one here is in Rose Gold Retro. And I mean, these are just gorgeous, gorgeous. I was a little bit light-handed with these today because I didn't want a whole lot of fallout on my face. And actually, I don't really have a whole lot of glitter fallout, which is wonderful. What did I move on to next? I just used the Hoola bronzer to go ahead and bronze up my face. This stuff is absolutely amazing. And the thing is, I have this big old sample of this Hoola bronzer. That's the bronzer shade down there. I'm running out of room, y'all. I do have this pretty decent size pan, and I would purchase the full size of this, and I almost have a couple times, but I had to stop myself. I think the issue with samples is we try them and we love them, so we feel like we need the full size. But this sample could last me over a year or more. So I think I had to tell myself, and I had to calm down with samples and be like, look, the sample can last you. My brush fits in this just fine. This is the same quality powder that is in the full size, and so I have to stop myself a lot of times from going out and purchasing full sizes of things if I haven't used the sample up yet. So that's why I started my project pan. That is why I am trying my absolute hardest to use up some samples before I decide if I want the full sizes or not. But for the blush, I went in with the Tarte Amazonian Clay Blush in Concept. This is just a beautiful, beautiful pinky shade. I have 3 of these little samples, and I mean, I have not even worn the design off of them. That is how long these things last, but that's the shade right there. Beautiful. I would put this on my eyes too as eyeshadow. These are wonderful. If you are worried about going in a little bit heavy-handed with your blushes, this is a good option. I mean, I dig into those and tap off, and I still get this beautiful wash of color. I do like to go a little bit harder on my blushes. I love to have that kind of flushed appearance. So if I am a little bit more blushy than what you prefer, it's just my preference with things. I did go ahead and use the Becca highlighter in, which one's this one? This one is in Opal. I use this in my inner corner. I use this as my brow bone highlight. I use this as the highlight on my face. Again, just a beautiful, we know that the Becca highlighters are just amazing. I did use a sample size of the Benefit Gimme Brow for my brows. Personally, for my own brows, I would have liked to go in with a pencil as well and define the bottom of my brow. It's been a while since I've gotten my brows waxed, so I like to add a little bit more definition down there where it might be a little bit choppy. But overall, this does add nice pigment into my brows. It fills them in, it makes them look a little bit fuller. But again, they're not necessarily, I'd like to go in with a brow gel because this is not going to necessarily hold my brows in place all day, but overall I do think they look very, very nice. I do like this product. I have this in shade number 3. It's probably a little bit dark for me, but again, you don't really get to pick your shades whenever they're sending you samples of things. On my lashes, I have the Benefit Bad Gal Bang Mascara. It's the one with this big old, almost Christmas tree looking rubber wand. I have mixed feelings about this mascara. I love the wand. I think the formula is too wet. If the formula was a tiny bit stiffer, because I ended up getting it all over my lids, it was a hot mess. I had to clean stuff up, I had to fix stuff, and that's every single time with this mascara, because one false move with this wand and this formula is so wet that it's everywhere. So I think this also transfers up onto my lids. I have quite a few sample size of mascaras, so if this one transfers today, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter this one and put another sample up into my drawers over here. But I love the wand, love it. It's big enough, like it is my whole eye. Like 2 swipes and my lashes are coated. I love the fanned effect that it makes on my lashes. It separates them. It makes them look almost like falsies, like natural falsies. That's what it makes my eyelashes look like. I love the wand. Hate the formula. So That's what I have to say about the mascara. On my lips, I did use two different products. I have the Tarteist lip paint, and this was the birthday gift last year from Sephora. And so it's just this beautiful kind of, I think this is the shade Birthday Suit, because it did come in the birthday gift, but it's just this very beautiful rosy shade. And then I took the Benefit, this is the Hi-Fi Shine lip gloss that I ended up getting in last month's Sephora Play in the shade SPL Special. I love this stuff. I actually bought a full size, not of this shade, but of another shade. I'm gonna do a video for you guys coming up. I think I'll film it this weekend, but it's gonna be like an oops, I did it again. Cause I was like, oh, no more hauls, I got enough. And then I placed 3 orders. What am I doing with my life? So I wanna go ahead and film some stuff for you guys on new products that I have brought into my collection, whether it's from the drugstore or from Sephora or from Ulta. But that is everything that's on my face today. And so like I kind of wanted to prove to myself that these samples are worthwhile. And so I think that I came up with a really, really pretty look. I'm curious how the powder foundation is going to wear throughout the day with my oily skin. I will say after this, I am going to put on a setting spray, and I do not have a mini of a setting spray that I would trust. I have a mini of like the Tarte water, but I think that's more of like a dewy type thing. But I am going to take my Urban Decay De-Slick and spray that all over my face before I start my day. But that is all I have for you guys. If you like this concept or like this style of video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below if you also love using up your samples. Like I said, I have to stop myself from buying full sizes because these samples are just as good and they'll last us forever. But don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.